Welcome, FNUSA57 here. Once again, I'm back on my Xbox Series X to bring you yet another video, this time for Elden Ring. And in today's guide, I want to show you how you can do a really low-level, really easy rune farm, Souls farm if you're used to playing the Dark Souls trilogy. Now, this is not the best one in the game, but the thing of it is you can do it really early in the game, and you don't need much to actually do it. It is roughly 150,000 souls or runes per hour, just depending on how good and fast you are. That is without using the golden scarab, and that is without using the other boosting item. If you want to use those items and you have them, so if you have the gold pickled foul foot, you can use that. That'll boost the amount of runes that you get for a short time. And if you have the golden scarab, you can use that as well. Now, as I mentioned, this is easy to do. I am playing a mage class, which doesn't really start out the best at low level. They do get better as you level them up, but you can do this with any class. Having a little bit of range is better. So if you have dex and you have a ranged weapon, or you have a ranged miracle, pyromancy, or magic, it will be a lot easier for you to do. If you don't have any range at all, you can still do this, but instead of being about 150,000 an hour, it would be about 120,000 an hour, just depending on how fast you go. I will show you how to get here in the second half of the video. Right now, I'm going to show you the farm. So, at my level, I got here really early in the game. You're actually not supposed to get to this part of the map until you're a little bit higher level. I am level 64. However, I am still basically using starting equipment except for my armor, just to make this as easy as possible. And you can use this with starting equipment. I did it with starting equipment. I'm not using anything upgraded, except I do have the black knife armor set, which is something that my friend gave me to help me out. So, per run of this averages about 8,000 runes and takes roughly 4 minutes. What you want to do is you want to come down here on the bottom right-hand corner of the map. There is this castle called Redmane Castle, and you will have to fight your way across the bridge to get here. So getting into the castle is a little bit challenging, but once you are in here, you can do this farm up until the point that you progress far enough to where you either do the quest line that starts the festival, or you come to this castle and kill the boss that is right here, which is the Crucible Knight and Misbegotten Warrior, and then go up and talk to the NPC that is up there, which also starts the festival. Once you start the festival, the enemies inside this castle will be gone. But before you start the festival, this is a really good farm. Also, the amount of souls that I mentioned earlier does not take into account the item drop. So you will get a plethora of daggers and swords, arrows, smoldering butterflies, and some smithing stones. You will also get one of, or can get one of, the better, or depending on who you talk to, best medium shields in the game, which is the brass shield. So if you don't have one of those and you're looking for a shield with a good block resistance on it that isn't too high of a level to get, this is a pretty good shield, and the knights here can drop it for you. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the path. Once you get this unlocked, you can come out and kill these enemies. You cannot backstab these enemies, by the way, when they are on the flamethrower. But since you will be resting at that site of grace in order to reset the run, it's really easy to come out and kill these guys. If you get too close to them and try to do a backstab on them, they can actually do that little sitting down crouching move and hit you and do damage to you. So bear that in mind. You will either need to dodge this flamethrower right here, or if you're a magic class, you can use the glintstone arc. I will be doing this with standard spells as well. You do not have to worry about unlocking any additional spells. It might take you 2 or 3 casts, just depending on your stats with the Glintstone Pebble. If you want the max amount, if you want to bump this up to about 170,000 souls per hour, go in here and up the ladder. There is a pumpkin head enemy that you can fight that is worth a little under 2,000 souls, and pretty much every single time drops a sanctuary stone. But he's easier to fight with melee than with range. So come here, go ahead and get rid of that. You're basically triggering that enemy to get the enemy to come over here, and then come up here. If you're a melee class, these enemies aren't really that bad to defeat. There is one that comes from the right, and it is relatively easy if you're a squishy class to die. But, you know, I'm squishy, so it happens. Anyways, defeat the spearmen. There's 2 more foot soldiers right there. There's one with a dagger, one with a spear. The one with the spear is more dangerous than the one with the dagger, by which point this enemy should be right about there. And what you want to do is this enemy you want to go ahead and kill with range. Normally, the enemy here is very difficult. If he gets close to you, he will eat you, which is an insta-kill attack that you cannot get out of. He also procs blood loss, and he can throw his scythe at you. But it is possible to get this enemy stuck between the stairs and that column there to the right. So if you have any sort of ranged ability at all, you can go ahead and kill that enemy relatively easily. He's worth around 2,200 souls base value. Remember, these values are without using the Scarab and without using the gold pickled foot. Then there will be a knight carrying this brass shield somewhere on this staircase. Ranged or melee, doesn't really matter. You can kill him pretty easily. There is another knight. I believe these are the Godric Knights. So you can get their armor set, and you can get that brass shield. The brass shield, though, from my testing, has about a 1% drop rate. So if you don't get it right away, don't feel too bad. But this is a really good spot to farm, not only for the souls, but for the brass shield. Now, depending on your stats and your class and how comfortable you feel, you will have these 2 knights here, and you need to get rid of them. Shouldn't be too much of a job. We are almost done with the loop, but there is another optional enemy that you can get. There will be an enemy right here with the crossbow, so another knight and another spearman. If you get the knight that has the crossbow out to aggro on you, he will usually walk towards this spearman, and then you can kill both of them at the same time with the arc. Otherwise, you will have to kill them individually. Now, like I said, on average, that's at least 8,000 plus souls. There is a couple of variables. We did not get the most souls. This run can average 10,000 souls if you kill the Pumpkinhead enemy, which I can't really show you because he's kind of hidden over there, but he's over there on top. That's that ladder that I showed. That's almost 2,000 souls right there. And if you kill this knight right here, that's another 900 plus souls. So you could get to 10,000 easily by killing those 2 additional enemies. This knight I do not think is worth it to go ahead and kill. Personal preference on that, but as you can see by my death marker right here, he does a shitload of damage. So if you can kill him, if you're really good with the parry and the backstab, you can do a lot of damage to him. But if you miss, he does a shitload of damage to you. Even with the backstab, I only do about 300 damage, and his shield negates the majority of our magical damage. So when you're ready to reset, if you're not going to kill this knight, which we're not, then just jump down here and jump down again. You won't die from fall damage, which is nice. rest at the campfire, and go ahead and repeat the process. Super easy, super simple to do, and you really don't need anything special to do it. The only thing that you need, or I would at least recommend having some range, is that one coffin spinning axe blade dude. That's the only one that I recommend that you go ahead and have a ranged attack to deal with, because you can actually get that enemy stuck. So this run, with using range to kill that coffin enemy, about 4 minutes, without me explaining it, that is. I can do it a little bit faster. 4 minutes to complete it, an average of 8,000 souls or more. Between 120 to 150,000 souls or runes, whatever you want to call them, per hour. And that's if you just keep doing it. Now, if you want to, you can optimize this a little bit more by using the glintstone arc and trying to get these enemies grouped up. But it is very, very, very easy for them to kill you. So just keep that in mind if you're going to do that. But yeah, that's the farm that I found. I made it down there about, I think I was like level 32 when I first made it finally inside the castle. And then I've been farming this part ever since then. So for anyone who's wondering about how to get into this castle, go ahead and hang out for another second, and I will show you exactly how to do that. Alright, now for those of you just making it here, once you have Torrent, you'll be able to ride through the swamp without building the rot damage. Make your way down to this particular area on the map. You can easily just use Torrent's ability to double jump to run past these enemies, double jump over here, and then you have your Sight of Grace that's unlocked. This particular travel will not work, so you know that the festival has not started, because this will not work, and there will be a bunch of enemies and a bunch of siege weapons. So the easiest way to deal with it is to actually skip the siege weapons. I know it kind of sounds counterproductive, but you will have 2 trebuchets or catapults, depending on what you want to call them. Minor technicality, they do not have the actual basket attached, so they shouldn't be able to throw. And then there's going to be a ballista that shoots explosive bolts. You'll want to park right here, and if you need to heal or anything, go ahead and do that. There's another ballista that will fire like that. Ride to the right of that ballista. The explosive bolts should be enough to one-shot you. There is a giant that will jump down from on top of this castle wall. Sometimes you can get him to die on impact. And then, of course, if you wish to kill these enemies, you can. However, at this point, I should note, if you dismount from Torrent, you will not be able to summon Torrent again easily. At this point, you can summon Torrent again, but if you progress much farther, then summoning him just doesn't really work that well. So keep that in mind. There is a bunch of these bats. You can fight them, you can skip them if you want. There is a ledge here, so mind the gap. More bats, including a siren bat. And then you will have to go up that ladder, which, just for the purposes of this video, I will show you. The little doorway to my left there is normally shut and locked, but you'll be able to open that. This did take me a while to do at level 30 because the enemies were just really difficult, but that depends on your class. Once you get up here, you'll have just a few enemies to deal with, and whether you kill them or not is up to you. This is not worth it as far as the farm is concerned for the runes, but it is worth it in terms of being able to unlock the farm, which is relatively easy because all you do is kill these 2 enemies. There's another Fire Knight over there. Don't worry about him. You can just fall down here. if you're stealthy, these enemies won't get up and attack you. Then you unlock the door. You can kill those enemies if you want, but they really don't drop that many souls. There's usually a dog around here somewhere, so go ahead and get rid of that enemy. If you did aggro one of those like prisoners, you can kill them, but they're really not worth it. When you come in here, there will be another more like assassin class enemy to deal with. This guy does a fair amount of damage if he can hit you. And he is worth a fair number of souls, so go ahead and deal with him. If you need health, there is a red beetle here, red scarab, that you can kill. And that will give you a health flask charge. If you're like me and you don't need it, then you're fine. You can wander around. You can kill those two big cats if you want to. Personally, I would not recommend it, though. They're very, very difficult unless you're fairly high level. So go ahead and go over here to the right, where you will find the beginning of our little rune farm from earlier. There are 2 soldiers behind these gates. They don't do that much damage, so depending on your class, you should be able to take them out relatively easily. And then the hard part is these flamethrowers up here. They have a deceivingly long range and a very high damage. Also, normal spells don't hit them very easily, so you want to make sure that you have the arc equipped. If you do have the sorcery, the glintstone arc is the best thing. It takes 3 casts normally to go ahead and kill the enemy on the flamethrower. Clear yourself a little bit of a path, otherwise just use a bow. If you want, at this point, you could start the farm. It's entirely up to you, but I would highly recommend activating this Site of Grace before you start the farm. And there you go. Now you've seen the entirety of the farm, and on top of that, you've seen how to unlock the Redmane Castle and this particular farm as well, so you can go ahead and level up pretty darn easy. I would say once you get to the high 50s, low 60s where I'm at, this farm becomes not as efficient, and you probably will have the stats, depending upon your class, to go ahead and progress farther into the game and unlock better farms. But until then, I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, definitely post a comment, and I will do my best to answer them. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, help me out by smashing that like button and subscribing for more content. Until next time, stay frosty.